Hey guys, in this part we're going to work with friendships, sending and accepting friendships and also viewing the list of friends. So let's begin by setting up a database model or do some changes to fix this. So what we are going to do is to go to the editor and then we can open up the models.py inside the account app because I want the friendships to be between the user models. So if I then go to Google and just search Django many-to-many field friendship. So then how do I do this? Many friends relationships. Friends. Okay, so here we just use a many-to-many field and refer to self, which is the user model we are on. So it can just be like this. But I want one user model also for sending the friendship requests. So we can say class friendship request. And here we want to pass in the models.model. And then I want the ID, so we can use this one. I want to know who created this. So if I just open up the models.py in the post app, I can actually make a copy of these two lines. Paste them there. And these, this can just be changed to friendship requests. And then maybe created friendship requests. And then who this was sent to. So maybe created for equals models.foreign key, user of course. Set the related name to received friendship requests. And if the user is deleted, we can also delete the friendship request. Okay, so now we have this. Maybe we should also have a status with a few options to choose between. Sent, set a label to sent. Accepted. And rejected. Now we need to set up a tuple for holding these so we can select between these three. So status choices equals and then a tuple. Then we first sent, which is this value here. These three are the values that will be stored in the database. And then add one more here. Sent. This is what we will see, for example, in the admin interface and also in the front end. And then accepted, rejected, like that. And then we just need to add it at the bottom here. So status equals models.char field. You can set the max length to be 30 because none of these are particularly long, maybe 20 to save even more space in the database. And then choices should be this list here, status choices, and default should just be sent. And then this sent here points up to this one. So now we have a model for this, and when a user accepts this, I want to just add the list to the list here, and then there will be a friendship. So whoever is your friends, you will also be their friends. So it's not like followers on Twitter and similar. So if I then just go to the command line, stop the web server and say Python men.py make migrations and Python men.py migrate. Then we can run the server again, so we have it running in the background. And we can continue working on this. So if we go to the project now, and let's say that I go and visit someone, Let's try the search Stein. Okay, before I do anything more, I just want to link this button here to this page. So open up navigation, no, app.view is where this is located. So this is now number 4, which is this one. Convert this to a router link to /search, and then just close the router link and close this file. So if I refresh now, I should be able to click this to be sent to this page. Nice. So then I can search again, visit Stein Helset, which is not me. And then I want a button below here, which should be a send friendship request. So if I then open up profile view, we can find this here. You can see it there. Then we add a new div, class margin top 6. So we have some space between this and the button below. And then I can copy the code for a button like this. I can just copy the classes. And then we can set this, we can set this to be a button actually. Paste the classes, send friend shape request, and save. So if I go back now, you can see the button there. Maybe you should make the font a little bit smaller. So text SM, XS maybe, that will get it on, no. It's a little bit big this here. Let's make the padding smaller like that. So now we have the send friendship request button. So the next step then is to create a function that will talk to the backend. So when we click this, we can say @click send friendship ship request. Now we can copy this and scroll down to the script area. So this should then be a method like this. Close it and add the comma. And then in here we can show, we can use Axios. And here I want to post because we are asking the server to actually do something and not getting information back. So .post /API what should the URL for this be? Let me open up the URLs in the account. We just /signup API send friendship request. Actually, we can call this for friends, and then request. Okay, so then we need to tell the backend which user we want to create this for. So as you can see down here, I'm using the route param to tell the server which profile we are on, so we can use that here as well. Then I just need to convert these to backticks. So now the full URL for the friendship request will be like this. And then we will get something back. So we can copy this, close it, and if there are any errors, let's show them in the console. So I can save this now, go back, refresh, and if I click it now, you will see that I get a 404 not found. And that's because we have not done anything in the backend yet. So let's go to the editor again. And if I then here open up the api.py in account, then I can add this at the bottom. And then we say @API view, and here we only want to accept post requests. So then we just fill in post. So then you can't go to this in the browser or similar. So you won't get any information. And then def send friendship request. request parameter, and I also expect here to be an ID. So PK, which is the primary key for the user we are creating this for. And then we can do a print here just to see that we are calling the correct function and similar, and add the PK at the end then. And then we can say return JSON response message blah blah blah, like that. We will add more here very soon. So then I go to the urls.py in the account app. At the bottom here we can say path friends/create request, because we are requesting a friendship. And then here I expect a UUID called PK, primary key. And the view I want to use is api.send friendship request, and set the name to be send friendship request, and save. So now that page should exist, and if I click this again now, you can see that in the return I get this. And if I go to the terminal, you can see here that this function was called, and here you can see the primary key for the user we want to create a friendship request for. Okay, so then I should create the actual friendship request and talk to the database. So here we can import the model we just created from .models import friendship request. And let me just copy these fields so I know which one to create down here. So first let's get this user from the database. So user equals user.objects.get primary key equals primary key. And this model is not imported, so let's import it. Important that we use this one and not the from the Django. And then let's just remove this comment, and then we can create the friendship request. So friendship request equals friendship request. The ID is added automatically. Created for is something you need to fill in. Created for equals user, which is the one in the URL. And created by is request.user, which is the authenticated user. And then created at will be automatically added, and status will be set to sent. So I can actually do this now. And then I don't need to do anything more here. I can say friendship request created, just so that the front end is aware that this happened. So if I go back now and refresh and click this one, you will see here friendship request created, and here are no errors, and that means the friendship request is now created. What I want to do then is to hide this button, this one here. You shouldn't see this button anymore now, since you have sent the request for the friendship. So then I need to know that this has happened. So what I want to do then is that I want to call this function here again, so that we get the posts and information about the user. Actually, that maybe I should just get this information back from the server, like that, and then save this. And then in the backend I will do some changes. So what I want to do here is that I want to import the serializer from .serializers import user serializer, and then scroll down. Actually, maybe that's not necessary. Let's just take this away for now. Go here again. Let's just keep the button there for now, and we will come back to that later. But at least now we can send the friendship requests. It requires a little bit of work to make this work as I want, and I don't want to do that right now. So if I go to the to-do list, this is still something we can set this to done and continue to this, where we want to make it possible to accept. No, we have actually done this too. Then it's this one, make it possible to accept friend requests. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to all of my patrons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link in the description below. So if I now go back here, then I want to log out and log in with this user instead. Okay, so now I am logged in as Stein Helset, and this user should have a friendship request. So where should I show these? Maybe just in the friends page. So let's create that now. So in the profile view, let's just copy this entire thing, create a new file and save it as, and then save it as friends.view. And here I do not want this submit form, I don't want the get feed, and I don't want this, but I know that I'm going to need some methods. I can also remove this one, and we don't want to call this. Oops. These can just be emptied components. I can use these two components. They can be there, the user store, and then this can be changed to friends view. I'm going to use Axio so that I can just be like it is. And then inside the middle here, friends, blah blah blah. And then on the left side I can see myself and remove this. Okay, so if I save this now and then open up router /index.js, we can add it to the list here. Import friends view from /views/friends view.view, and then scroll down and we can add it after the profile page here. We still want the ID, but that can be in the middle, and then we add friends at the end. The page can be called friends, and the component we want to use is of course the friends view. Okay, so then we can save this, and if I then go to the profile view, I want to make this a button that we can click to be sent to the friends page. So here I can actually just say, no, we can create this to be a router link, that's the best. Close the router link and say to, and here we can say that we want to go to name, friends, params, ID, and this is then the user ID which we are visiting. I think that's correct. So let's save this and see if it works. No, could not import friends view.view. No, I saved it as friends, sorry. Okay, so I need to rename this. Rename friends view.view. And then we have it there. So if I now click this, I'm sent to profile there /friends. Okay, there seems to be something wrong with the file. Cannot read. Okay. Friends view user is not set. Okay, let's copy this. We need it after all. But here I don't want to call the get feed. Here I want to call a function called get friends, because here I want to get the friends and the friend requests. So we can copy this get feed and just change it a little bit. So inside the get the mounted, rename this to get friends, and then we just want to say friends like that. Then we can say this.user, we want to get this from the backend. This.friends should be friends, and one more, this.friendship requests equals response dot data dot requests. Then we can add this up here, should be an empty list, and friends should be an empty list like that. So if I now save this, why is that error there? Expected. Okay, can just remove that comma. And then I need to do some changes in the backend to create this view. So in the API, we can create one more here. At API view, this should be a get request view. Def friends request, and we also get the primary key for the specific user. And then we can get the user there. And I only want to get the friendship requests if this user is actually you. So if user equals request.user, then friend, we can say requests equals friendship requests dot objects dot filter, and I only want to get the ones that are sent to you. So created for equals request dot user, else then requests can just be an empty list. Actually, I can just define it up here, so we don't need this else there. And then to get all of the friends, we can just say friends equals user.objects. Let's say user.friends.all. So now we get all of the friends that are in this field up here, which right now is empty, but we will make it possible to accept these requests, and then this will be filling up. And then we can start returning some data. So return JSON response. Let's set this, and then we also need to set the safe equals false. And then in here we say user should be user serializer. I haven't imported this. No. From .serializers import user serializer. I can use that. Serializer. Pass in user, which is the one from the URL. And then I also want the friends. And this should also use the user serializer. Friends. And this can be set to many equals true, because this should be a list, since there usually is more than one, and we want this as a list anyway. And then we need to create a separate serializer for the friendship requests. So let's create that now. If I go into serializers.py in the account folder, let's import the model class friendship request serializer, pass in serializer.model serializer, set the class meta, and then the model we want to use is friendship request. The fields we want here is ID and who this was created by. So created by, and add that comma, and then the created by should be a user serializer. Read only equals true, like that. So that makes this information serializable, so we know more information about that user. So I actually get this information in the list of friendship requests. Save, and we can import it up there, friendship request serializer, and then we can say here requests, friendship request serializer, pass in requests, and set many equals true. So I think that should be it here now. Then we just need to add this to the urls.py file inside the account app. So here path friends slash api.friends name friends and save. So check here now, there are no errors. If I refresh, there are no errors, but I see that I get an unexpected token in the get friends app, in the friends view. Mounted, this should say this.get friends, of course, and this should be moved down to the methods. Sorry about that. So if I save now, go back and refresh, then we can see here that this is now working, this is working again, and this is the information that I put in the middle there. Now here I want a list of friends and a list of friendship requests. So we can begin with the friends, since I already know what that's gonna look like. I can just open up the search view and I can make a copy of this list of users here. So I can copy this div, go back to the friends view and just paste it in there. So if users.length, then this will be generated and users can be renamed to friends. So for user in friends, and if friends.length, then it will be created. So there are nothing now because we don't have any friends. I also see that I get a 404 error again. API posts. Okay, did I do something wrong? Yes, profile. The URL I want to use there. Let me just scroll down and see what I do. Posts profile. Now this should say friends like that. Just like we do in the other, not the search one, but on profile view. We use the URL as you can see here. That's the same type of structure I want to use. But let me take this request and add it at the end there so I can clean up and make the URLs a little bit better. So then it's friends/the ID, and here it's friends/the ID and a request at the end. So then I can make a copy of this, paste it there, and set a request at the end instead. So this is how we get the friends. This is how we send a friend request now. So no errors. Let me try to refresh. Still get an error. 500 error. Object of type user serializer is not JSON serializable. That's probably because this is empty because it's from this up here. So if I just move this up here, requests equals requests dot equals requests dot data. Let me try to see if I can do it like this instead. So now it's either an empty list or it's this data array. Refresh. Okay, it's a new error. Okay, it might still be the same problem. So let me just remove it from there right now. Save it, go back and refresh. No, there's still something wrong in the backend. 401. Unauthorized. Why do I get that? Okay, I'm all of a sudden not logged in again. Okay, so the problem wasn't this. Okay, let me just get the user and we take it from there. Refresh, still get an error. What am I forgetting? Let me open up one of the other API files. The post serializer.data. Okay, that might be the problem. So if I here say .data, refresh. Okay, so now there are no errors from there. Okay, let me get these back again. .data and .data. And this already gets the data from there. Refresh, and now I don't get any errors longer anymore. And this is showing the correct name. Okay, but we don't have any friends in the list, so let's show the friendship requests the same way. So a little bit back and forth now, sorry about that. Let's scroll up and we can make a copy of this one. And between these we say HR just to separate this a little bit. So you can see here we get the HR line, and then we can rename this to be friendship requests. And that's the one on top of these two. So that did not work either. I can see that the requests is empty. But why isn't there any friendship requests? That should have been created here. Created for user. Okay, let me try to visit the other user. Go into Code with Stein and send him a request. Okay, that looks okay. So if I try to log out and then log in again with the other user. Okay, so now I'm logged in with Code with Stein. So if I now click to see my friends, it's still empty. Let me see check the database to see if there are any friendship requests. So Python mentioned.py shell from account.models import friendship request FRS for friendship requests equals friendship request.object.all. And this is empty, which means that we have not been able to create a friendship request. I see here that I forgot to add .objects.create. That's probably why it was. It's okay to put data into this, but it hasn't been saved in the database. So that's a bummer. So if I then go to search Stein, go into Stein Helset, which is the other user, send friendship request, and then try to log in with the other user again. So log in with Code with Stein at gmail.com, and then go to my profile and into my friends, and now this is a friendship request. And you can see down here in the corner it says requests array 1. Nice. Okay, so let's go back here again. Then you can see here I loop through the user in friendship requests, but why isn't the name showing here? Let me inspect the data I get from the server a little bit. So the requests, you can see here, contains just the ID, temp.id. No, it contains everything, so it has the name and the email. So why isn't it showing? Just write something random there, that's showing there. Okay, so it should be user.createdby.name. There, you see it. Okay, And then the same here. If I want to visit this user, it should be user.createdBy. And this should actually be a little bit confusing. So let's rename this to friendship request in friendship requests. And then friendship request.id, friendship request.createdby.id, friendship request.createdby.name. Okay, so that's a little bit easier to understand. So I should only have one on each line here, so it's a little bit easier to see this. So instead of having a grid calls for, we can just remove this grid. Then it will fill out this whole thing instead. The image is absurdly large. So let's rename this to 100. And we want to center it, so MX Auto. So, great. Then below here, I want to have a button that should say either accept or reject friendship. So let's add those two buttons. Div class empty 6. And then in here, we say button class. This can be a purple button. I can copy that from the profile view. We just created that very earlier. This post button here, accept, and I want a reject button in also. And this can be red instead, reject. Then we need some space between these, so space -x-4, like that. Maybe we should also have a title up here that says friendship request, so it's easier to understand what this does. That can be above here. H2 class text -xl friendship requests. Save. And maybe some space down there, so MB-6. Okay, so then I need to create one function for these two buttons. Let's create that first. Scroll down to the methods. Then we can say handle request and status. So here we can either pass in reject or accept. So we can say console.log handle request and then the status, just so we can test this. So if I then scroll up and find these two buttons again, then this one can say @click. So when we click this, we want to call the function handle request and pass in accept as a string, copy and paste, and here we can pass in reject instead. So if I then go back, refresh and click this, then you can see handle request accept, handle request reject. Okay, so then we need to send this information to the back end. So what we can do then is to say axios.post. I want to use the backticks here. Oops, backticks /API friends. Now we pass in the ID for the user UR. That's not correct. We want the user for the one you're clicking. So let's pass that in here as well. So if we here say friendship request.id, so we can pass in the ID for the friendship itself, like that. Not the user, but the friendship request. So scroll down again. So then we get the status and we get the primary key for the friendship request. So then we do it like this. No, sorry, again, let's set the ID there so that we can use the same type of URL. So here we say created by.id friendship request.createdby.id. Okay. So then down here again, I can say PK, which is the primary key for the user you got the request from. Let's do it like this. And then here I pass in one more variable, status, so that the backend knows if it's a request or, no, sorry, accept or reject. Then we get some information back from the server. We can do it like this just to see what we get back. And if there are any errors, we can show them in the console. So let's set up the URL for this first, so we still have it fresh in the head. So the URL here is path friends slash. I can go back just to take 1 and 1 to make it as clear as possible. So we have the friends. Now we want the primary key for the user, which is a UUID PK. And then the status, which is accept or reject. And this is a string now, status. And then we can call this for API.handle request. And name is handle request. Like that. And I see that this is white because we haven't created it. So that's the next step. So again, we want to use a post request here. So API view post. I hope that the code I have made so far isn't too complicated. If there are any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I will answer as soon as I can. And then just def handle request, pass in the request parameter. We want the PK for the user and we want the status. So then I can copy this just so that I have the user. If I need any information about it, we can get the friendship request by saying friendship request equals friendship request dot objects dot filter. So then I can get everyone that is for me created for equals request dot user, and I want to get one specific one, so dot get, which is created by equals the user, which is the user it points to here. And then we can just say friendship request dot status equals status, because this is now either accept or reject. And if I go back to models.py, that's exactly what we set here, accepted or rejected. Okay, let's convert these in the friends view to accepted or rejected so that they are matching the database information. And when that is done, we can say friendship request dot save, and we can return information friendship request updated. Okay, so if I then go back here again, then we should hopefully get that information back down here. So let's refresh. So if I now click accept, friendship request updated, there are no errors. So if I now refresh, it was not supposed to be there anymore. What did I do wrong this time? So handle request, print handle request, just want to do some debugging here, print friendship request just to see that we get this from the database. Yes, sorry, I forgot to do one thing here, and that is to actually add this user to the list of user. So here I should actually say created user.friends.add request.user. So now I add myself to the list of this person's user, and then user.save. So let's try this one more time. Accept, This was accepted, refresh, and now I was added as a friend there. Nice. But we are still showing this. And that can be fixed very easy by going back to here where we go into friends. We want to filter here on status equals friendship request dot sent, because we only want to have those, not the ones that has been rejected or accepted. So if I refresh now, that is gone. And then I also want to hide this HR line. So go back here again. Where is it? It's there. Can put it inside this div instead. And this div is controlled by the length of this list. So now that is gone. Perfect. I can also make this a little bit wider. So if I scroll down, we can say grid calls 2. So now we have 2 and 2 friends. Nice. So now we can actually send requests and we can accept them, and reject should also be working. Now we can update this number here. If I go to the models.py, it can be a little bit expensive to call the count on this every time we want to show that count. So let's create one more variable, friends count equals models.integer field default equals 0, because you usually don't have any friends when you just create this. So the problem now is that this user has one friend, but the count will be 0. So we should have a way to fix that. And that should be very easy. For example, I can just say on the friends page that request.user and u equals request.user u.friends count equals 1 u.save and user.friends count equals 1 user.save, just so I update me and the user I'm visiting. So if I then visit Code with Stein, which is the other user, okay, get some errors here. Okay, I need to initialize the database, of course, so make migrations and migrate, run the server again, go back and refresh. So now I'm Code with Stein, and if I go into the friends of that user, then I should hopefully have increased the friends count with 1. So let's just remove this now. And then we need to do some more changes here. So how do we get this and this? Well, we can change the serializer for the user. So here we can say friends count and save, so that we get that. And then we can update this every place we see it. So here, for example, on the friendship request, that's not visible, so I'll take that very soon. But on the friends list, this one, we can say user.friends count 1 friends. Nice. So we should do it there as well. And that is on the profile 182. That's not the correct one. Let me just search for 182 friends, because this is hard coded multiple places. Friends view.view, replace it there and there and in the search view. So now you can see it's fixed there and it's fixed there. Great. So then there is one more thing I need to fix before I can continue, and that is go to api.py, where we accept the friendship here. Then we need to increase the user count for that user. User.friends count equals user.friends count plus 1. But I also want to do it for yourself, so request user equals request.user request user dot friends count equals request user dot friends count plus 1 request user dot save. Okay, so now that is done. So if I go to the to-do list, I should be able to set this to done. But before I continue there, prevent sending multiple friendship requests. Because if I now try to send one more, then it will just be one more friendship request, and that is not good. So I want to check here if this already exists, and then create it if not. So first I can get all of the friendships that you are a part of. FRS equals, just call it very short there, friendship request object filters. This is everyone that is for you, and yes, so it's for you from this person. Check one, but I also want to check the other way. So here we can say user and request.user. If check 1 or check 2, then if not and not. So we only create this if that, and then else return JSON response message request already sent. So if one of these two already exists, then we will not create a new one. So let's try this. If I go into Stein Helset, click this one, then I get a 500 error, not what I was hoping for. Friendship request matching. Okay, if I say filter on both of these two, send friendship request created. Okay, not what I was hoping for. Or maybe this should be an or. Try that, refresh. Yes, request already sent. So now it's checking if either of these already exist, then we send this message back instead. Okay, so then we should also set that message to the user. So let's find the toast again, so I can use that. So I have this in the sign up view. Let's import this to the friends view. So import the toast store, const toast store equals use toast store, return toast store, and then we call it very simple by just saying this to toast store. This is actually an error, so let's go back here, and then in the handler request, if response.data .message equals request already sent, then we say this.toast store.show toast in 5 seconds. The request has already been sent. But if it's not this message, then it means that this was created. So then we can say Emerald 300, the request was sent. So let's try this. Send friendship request. That did not work. But why? Console.log. Just see that we are going into this correctly. No. Okay, because I'm not on the friends view page. Okay, that's because that's not the correct one, sorry. Just move everything here into the profile view. Scroll down and find it here instead. Go back to friends view and take the import it here instead, and then I want it there, and this can be removed. Sorry about that. Toast store. So now we can try again. The request has already been sent. Nice. Okay, so that means I can remove this console log, and we can also have this when we are accepting a friend request and similar, but now you know how to do it, so that can be an excellent task for you to try. Okay, so now this is done, and then I want to update the feed to include your friends' posts. So on the feed page, here I don't just want to show your post, I want to show the friends' posts. Okay, let me just fix this first. Name friends. So that's probably this one not working. Router link to name friends. Let me find this link. The profile view. Let me just remove and see if the error is gone. Yes, so it's this one. Name friends, param user.id. But why isn't it working? Missing required parameter user.id. It's printed there, so it exists. Okay, maybe I need to just add those one. No. But it's actually working, so okay, it says undefined there. That was very weird. Okay, it's because it's rendering before the user is loaded. So let me scroll down. If I in here say ID, set the default to null, refresh, then the error is gone. So now it's temporarily using null until it's loaded. So it's now working. Okay, so let's go back to the feed. So can fix this button as well in app.view. So that's the top one here. Convert this to be a router link. Router link to /feed. So now should be able to click this and be sent to the feed. So now I can see only my posts. Actually, I see mine and code with Stein. Why is that working? Post list, okay, this gets all posts. So I want the one created by me or my friends. So then I need a list of the IDs for me and my friends. So user IDs equals request.user.id. Then I can use it here to filter created by ID in user IDs. Let me try to refresh. That did not work. Not a valid UUID. Okay. If I just do it like this, maybe. No. Okay, that looks a little bit weird. So I want this ID and not the information about this. print request.user.id. So to see what the console says. So it says it like that. But why is the list like this? User IDs.append request user.id. Still like that. Let's stringify it. No. Okay, so that was working. Print user IDs. So user IDs looks like this. But if I want to have more than one user ID, for user in request.user.friends.all, I want to loop through user IDs.append user.id. New error. UUID has no attribute append. Okay, Python list of UUID. Why isn't this working? Okay, let me try Django filter in list UUID. Query an object using UUID. There, I think it's this one. Okay, let's just copy this. This should be like this. Right now, let me see what this looks like. Okay. Print list user IDs. Just see what that looks like now. Sorry that I have to test it while you're watching. List has no attribute to replace. Blah blah blah. Okay, so I think what I need to do here now is to add the ID field here and convert this now to a list. And just remove this and this, and I can remove that. So remove that as well. So hopefully now it should be working. Refresh, and yes, now I have the posts from both Code with Stein and Stein Hellset, which means that this is now working. Nice. So now we get the feed for our friends and yourself. Perfect. Hello test. So if I refresh now, this is on top over Code with Stein. Perfect. That means that I should be able to go to the to-do list and set this to done. I noticed up here that I haven't fixed any logout functionality. And I know that I have said that I'm going to log out a few times, and what I have done is to just open up the inspector, open up the local storage under application and just delete this. But let's fix the logout functionality once and for all. So when you're on your own profile, you can have a logout button below this button. This button will be removed soon or later in this series. So on the profile view, we can check if this is your own profile by testing it like this. We can see if this is not you, that means that now it's gone here, but if I try to go into Code with Stein, then it's still there. Nice. But instead we can actually show a different button. Maybe we can have it on the button itself, so I don't need two divs. And then button. Okay, let me copy the entire thing. Here we can call logout instead, logout. And if the user ID is the same that we are on, text can be logout and this can be a red button instead. Nice. So now we just need to fix this logout functionality. So if we scroll down to the methods list, we can say log out, console log out, and here we can say user this.user store dot. Let's open up that one so we can see which function we can use. Remove token. Let's call that one remove token, and when that is done we can say this.router.push can be sent to the login page instead. So let's try this now. Log out. If I refresh, we are not logged in anymore. Nice. Perfect. So now we can go to to-do list. Just see that in the next part of this series we're going to start working on liking and discussing posts. After that we're going to continue with messaging. If you have any questions about today's code, feel free to leave a comment below and I will answer as soon as I can. See you in the next video.